Fearless innovation, how to thrive. Despite tech setbacks, the tech world is all about taking risks, understanding the fear. Let me paint a scene you've probably lived. You're about to pitch a new feature, propose a product redesign, or maybe launch a side project you've poured your soul into. And just before the first word leaves your mouth, your brain whispers, "What if it fails?" The idea of taking a risk in tech, where everything moves at the speed of light, can feel like standing at the edge of a cliff with no safety net. Because in this world, innovation is celebrated until you make a mistake. Then suddenly, it feels like the world's watching and waiting for you to stumble. But here's the truth most people forget. Fear is baked into the blueprint of innovation. Every time you build something new, you're stepping into the unknown. And the unknown is uncomfortable. But it's also where every breakthrough begins. Yes, fear can motivate us to be careful, to test, to iterate. But if left unchecked, fear morphs into hesitation. It silences creativity. It kills momentum. But look at the innovators we admire. The Elon Musks, the Ada Lovelaces, the Steve Jobses, the Radia Perlmans. They didn't play it safe. They didn't wait for certainty. They bet on possibility. They launched. They learned. So let's stop treating fear as a signal to stop and start seeing it as a green light to evolve. Breaking down fear, common tech fears. Let's crack open the black box of tech fear, because when we name it, we can tame it. 1. Fear of not being perfect. This one's a killer, especially in dev culture where move fast and break things is tattooed on the wall, but ship perfect or else is tattooed in our brains. You're terrified of bugs. You hesitate to commit code because it might not be clean enough. You second-guess designs that break the mold. But guess what? Perfection is an illusion. And in tech, iteration wins over polish. Done is better than perfect, because done gets feedback. Perfect gets stuck in your drafts folder. 2. Fear of financial fallout. Whether you're freelancing, bootstrapping a startup, or pitching internally, there's always the fear of losing money, wasting time, or tanking a budget. But hear this. Every VC-funded unicorn burned through failures before their first win. Behind every polished pitch deck is a graveyard of misfires. Calculated risks, when aligned with learning, are never truly wasted. They're investments in what not to repeat. 3. Fear of ruining your career. What if this experiment tanks? What if this product flops and it's tied to your name? Here's the reframe. Tech doesn't punish thoughtful failure. It punishes inaction. In fact, the greatest credibility you can build is the ability to bounce back. To say, here's what we tried. Here's why it didn't work. Here's how we're adapting. That's not weakness. That's leadership. So instead of obsessing over what could go wrong, start getting curious about what could go right if you dared to move. Shifting your mindset. Strategies for overcoming fear. Let's face it. The stories we tell ourselves in tech can be brutal. If I mess up, they'll never trust me again. If this feature flops, I'm done. I'm not smart enough to lead this. But what if, just what if, the problem wasn't the fear itself, but the lens through which we're seeing it? Because here's the truth. Fear is not a stop sign. It's feedback. It's your mind saying, hey, this matters. So how do we flip the script? 1. Reframe failure as feedback. Instead of asking, what went wrong? Ask, what did I learn? Because if you launch something and it tanks, that's not shame, that's intel. Every misstep is a data point. Every crash log, every negative review, every pivot is gold if you know how to mine it. Great engineers debug. Great product managers iterate. Great innovators? They reflect and reframe. 2. Build your brain trust. Innovation is a team sport, and the fastest way to break the cycle of fear is to surround yourself with people who challenge and uplift you. Find that mentor who's been through the fire and lived to code another day. That friend who reminds you that the version 1 of anything is allowed to suck. Build your feedback circle, not just for code, but for courage. Because with the right voices around you, fear becomes lighter, and courage becomes contagious. 3. Process over outcome. The most dangerous trap in tech? Obsessing over the final result. Will it scale? Will it impress the investors? Will it go viral? But true innovation isn't about nailing it on the first try. It's about building muscle through consistent experimentation. Shift your focus from "I need to get this perfect" to "What can I learn from doing this better than I did yesterday?" The outcome is just a snapshot. The process? That's your legacy. Building confidence, actionable steps to take. So now that we've talked mindset, let's bring it into motion. Confidence doesn't come from thinking you'll never fail. It comes from failing and still choosing to try again. Let's get tactical. 1. Set micro wins. You don't build innovation confidence by launching billion-dollar startups overnight. You build it by shipping something, anything, every single week. Launch a simple feature to internal users. Share an idea during stand-up even if your voice shakes. Send out a newsletter to 10 people. These might seem small, but they compound. Each one tells your brain, look, we can take action. We can finish things. Confidence is momentum. So give yourself permission to win small and win often. 2. Embrace fail fast, learn faster. This isn't just a catchy motto. It's a system. The faster you test, the faster you get feedback. And the faster you get feedback, the faster you improve. Think of every experiment as a repetition in the gym of growth. Didn't go as planned? Great. Adjust. Try again. This is how some of the world's best products were born. By people who were more curious than cautious. 3. Celebrate like a scientist. Here's what most high performers get wrong. They only celebrate big wins, and only when the results are shiny. But scientists? They throw a party when the hypothesis gets proven wrong, because they learned something. Celebrate writing messy code that taught you a new pattern. Celebrate launching a product that only helped 10 users, because now you have proof of concept. Celebrate every time you don't give up. Why? Because when you honor your progress, your brain starts to trust you. And trust? That's the root of unshakable confidence. Tech success starts with you, embracing a growth mindset. Let's zoom out. You've faced fear. You've reframed it. You've taken action and started building confidence one experiment at a time. Now here's the truth that will carry you through the long game. The tech industry doesn't reward perfection. It rewards persistence. It rewards adaptability. It rewards those who get back up again and again with more insight and even more fire. And that's where the growth mindset becomes your superpower. A growth mindset says, I don't know, yet. This launch didn't work. Yet. I haven't figured it out, man, but I will. It keeps you curious. It keeps you humble. It keeps you learning faster than the world is changing. Because let's be real, the landscape of tech is not slowing down. Languages evolve. Platforms shift. Markets change in a blink. And the people who thrive? They aren't the ones with the most credentials. They're the ones who stay agile in the face of setbacks. They show up. They ship. They grow. So build your learning loops. Sign up for the course. Try the new stack. Apply for the project you think is too big. Because the only thing standing between you and your next breakthrough is the belief that you're capable of growing into it. Final takeaway. Fear isn't the end. It's the beginning. So here's what I want to leave you with. Every time fear shows up in your work, when you hesitate to click submit, when you doubt your ability to lead, when you think you're not ready, pause. And instead of pulling back, ask, what if this is exactly the edge I'm supposed to lean into? Fear isn't the villain in your innovation story. It's the invitation to build, to evolve, to lead from the front, not because you're certain, but because you're willing. Willing to try, willing to fail, willing to grow. And that's how fearless innovation is born. So go make the thing. Pitch the idea. Write the code. Lead the team. Launch the beta. Your future self is already cheering for you.